PASCAL. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high, cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold on, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live, somebody. Let's go.
Good morning, good afternoon, everybody, and good evening. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys all doing well out there. More importantly, I hope this show finds you in good spirits. I need your help, y'all. This one's very important, okay? So I hope you guys are all doing good and are in a, I don't know, you're in a good mood to do some good things, okay? We got something very special happening on the show today. And I know some of y'all might be like, what's going on? Why are you saying this is special? This one is different. This conversation that we're having, that we're about to have, is different than any other conversation that I've had on the show. You might be wondering why. Don't worry. I'll explain a little bit later. I know I'm leaving you guys at the edge of your seats, but that's what I do, right? I leave you guys just waiting for more. But this is very important because we have a story that we talked about nearly 5 months ago. Horrific story that happened nearly 5 months ago. And that story is not done yet. Sure, there have been chapters that have been closed, but the book to this story is far from done. So I'm going to need y'all's help. Like I said, I'm going to need y'all's help in a little bit. And again, I'll explain in a little while. Please do me a favor, some housekeeping real quick, if you don't mind. All right, as you guys start to file in, because this is a very important show. First off, hit that like button down below. Send it past 300 likes if you're watching on YouTube. If you're watching on Facebook, react the heck out of this video right now. All right. All the interaction, all the comments and whatnot help this video get out there as much as possible. We're here for change, y'all. We're here to change some things that are going on in this country. And we're here, most importantly, to save our children. I know that sounds really dramatic, but this is serious. So hit that like button down below. Don't forget, I know this is selfish, but hey, got to keep these lights on. These purple lights don't pay themselves. So please do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button, okay? Crush it. That would really mean a lot. And if you're watching on Facebook, don't forget to hit that follow button as well. All right? Okay. We got all that crap out of the way. Now we got to get into the real meat and potatoes of the conversation, okay? Again, I really do appreciate all y'all for being here. It really does mean a lot. All right? We do have two very special people. The cousin and father of Ivy Webster. She was one of the 6 that lost their lives in Henrietta by the hands of this monster right here, Jesse McFadden. Now, I know some of you guys don't remember the story all that well, or maybe you guys don't know about this story and the House of Horrors in Henrietta, Oklahoma, but I'm going to try my best to give you guys as brief of a breakdown as I can. So these two girls, Brittany Brewer and Ivy Webster, went to go basically spend the night over at Jesse McFadden's home. They went missing. A short while after that, they were found in the backyard of Jesse McFadden's home, along with, and let me pull this photo up, along with his step family, if that makes any sense. That is his wife, Holly McFadden, or Holly Guess. And of course, her children were involved in this unthinkable, devastating, unthinkable thing, okay? This unthinkable act of violence. As the story has continued to progress, we learned that this piece of work, Jesse McFadden, was a very, very dangerous and dirty man. He was in jail. He was sentenced to jail for over 20 years, got out a little shy of his 20-year sentence, only to find out that even when he was locked up, he was still doing bad things. He was still a repeat offender. And I'm going to have to say this really quick, guys. I'm going to be using a lot of code words throughout the course of this show. So, and of course, I'm going to try to be as kosher as I can with the conversation. So, trigger warning, full on throughout the rest of the show, because this gets very, very intense. As we start to learn more about Jesse McFadden, let me throw this monster's face up one more time. You know, we've been talking about Jesse McFadden. We did a deep dive into his life. But what's very interesting and what's even more shocking is the families that lost their children, mainly the Webster family. They went into this home after police had already done their, well, let's just say they said that they did their work. But the Webster family found something completely different. So as they went into this home, which is now dawned the House of Horrors, they find things that shouldn't be in bedrooms, things that shouldn't be screwed into countertops in kitchens, things that don't seem to look right in a regular house. Okay? Let me show you what I mean. Just really quick. Just want to show you guys a clip from News Nation before we bring on our two guests. But still, the items, and you're going to see here in a second, and I'm going to play this clip, but you're going to see the items, the paraphernalia, etc., throughout this house. And the police went in through this house, allegedly did their due diligence, and they found what? They didn't find anything incriminating. They didn't find anything out of the ordinary. I'm gonna play this for you guys. This is in mid-conversation, of course, of this clip. But as you listen and as you look at these items that were found strewn across this house, you tell me, does this look like a normal house to you?
Dead, but could there be other people out there that did awful, awful things in that house?
Or missing women, missing children whose DNA may be on that mattress, maybe everywhere throughout that house, maybe on the restraints or in the needle. There could be a trove of evidence of potential unsolved crimes there. The other thing that was disturbing, I don't know if you noticed it, but on the wall there was like a crossword puzzle of all the family members' names, including Jesse's and Holly's, his wife, and then the children, Riley, Michael, and Tiffany. And it seemed as though it was a family home, but then it was just mixed in with this horrible sex dungeon business, which also leads you to wonder if Holly did know, because those parents questioned whether Holly knew something about this. And then there was that wedding ring sitting out there in the open right next to the needles.
I mean, how could you not know? I mean, the shackles and the chains that were drilled into the floor next to the mattress in that one room. And then I think I saw chains drilled into the floor in the kitchen even. I mean, it's hard to imagine you wouldn't know what was going on in there unless this was all just set up recently and she hadn't seen it before. But it certainly, based on the video, looks like it's been there for a while.
It certainly does. Brian, don't go anywhere. There is a moment on these tapes that just is soul crushing.
Now, 1 second. I want to show you guys a little bit of the, I went ahead, a little bit ahead of myself here. But as you can see, the footage of chains, things that were screwed, drilled into the walls, for crying out loud. All right. This is what one of the victims' families, Ivy's family, found within this house. Okay. Things like this. Now, let me mute this real quick. But as you can see, this is footage that was found. This is on the countertop, y'all. Found on top, screwed into the top of the countertop. Again, you go through this whole house. You go through this whole house and you're telling me that you didn't find anything like this? You didn't look at that and scratch your head and go, something's odd here. Something's very odd. Now, we got a little bit, okay? Because I don't want to overextend my time with my guests because their time is precious and they got a lot of work ahead of them. But there's two clips that I want to show you. It's on this same clip. One of them's on this same clip, and there's another one that I want to share with you guys before we go into the conversation. So, Justin Weber, as he's going through this house, he finds all this stuff. Family members of the Webster family find all these unthinkable things like this, as you see. So they bring the police back into the house, looking at this place and going, what the hell is going on here? How could you be doing this and not look at this and start bagging everything up? Because to me, it tells me that there's a history in this house. This house, if these walls could talk, right? There might be more to this story than just what has happened to this family and those two young girls. But the one part that drove me nuts and blew my mind is this part that I'm going to play for you guys right here. This is as they're going back into the house. They bring in a police officer into the house. He is finally taking photos of Ivy and Brittany's cell phones that were on a shelf in a room in all this. Justin Weber asks passionately, how could you be doing this? How could you be doing this? And just walk away from this and not think that this is important stuff. And what the officer says will shock you. Take a listen. It's coming up in just a few seconds.
Ivy Webster's dad is so irate that police left all this evidence behind. He just lets the officer on scene have it.
What would this accomplish? I'm a grieving parent that my daughter got raped and murdered, and you're telling me right now that I don't have a right to know what happened?
Listen, you got cops sitting here saying, what could we have done? What change would happen if we did our job? I don't know about you guys, but that is a big whole red flag. I got one more piece here for you guys. I got one more before we bring our guest on. Because what these two are doing, what the Webster family is doing right now, I commend 110%. But I think there's a piece here that's really important for us. That's really important for us to hear. And it comes from Justin Weber himself, who we're about to hear in just a minute. And I'm telling you, this man is a man of his word. Let's take a listen to what he had to say a few months ago.
Chance yet to grieve or accept it?
I feel like I haven't because I've been fighting so hard and I'll continue to fight. I don't have time to sit in the bed and curl up and cry like I really want to. But I gotta make sure that this doesn't happen to any other kid.
Oh. Damn right. So, not only are they still trying to get justice not only is Justin trying to get justice for his own daughter, he's also trying to change things. He and Ivy's cousin, Tiffany, are working very, very hard to try to change some things that are going on in this country, keeping us safe, keeping our families, our children safe. They have a petition on change.org. And they have many, many signatures so far, but they got many more to go. And this is the reason why I'm saying I need y'all's help as we start to talk and listen to this family and the absolute horrors that they've gone through over the past few months. We're going to be talking about this. We're going to be talking about this change.org petition. And again, this is to save our children, to keep our children safe. So what I'm going to do before we get into this conversation, I'm posting it right now on all platforms. I'm going to pin it to the top of the conversation right now on YouTube as we speak. It is now pinned. And I need you guys to go over there and sign the petition. Hear what they have to say. Hear their reasons why and what this petition is for. And then click on that link and sign as soon as possible. This is the reason why I'm saying, if you're watching on Facebook, if you're watching on YouTube, please share this on Twitter. Share this on Facebook. Share it as far as you can, because this is for our children. Again, this is for our children. So please welcome to the show. I have Tiffany Troy and Justin Weber. First off, I want to say thank you so much for being on today. It really does mean a lot. And I know that you both are you guys have a lot of work ahead of y'all. So I appreciate you guys being here. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes. So please, Justin and Tiffany, please, can you tell us a little bit about Ivy?
The way that I've been describing it the last couple months is, I would say Ivy was an angel on earth, and she was so pure and so perfect and beautiful and nice, and that she just had the greatest soul ever and just wanted to help everybody out as she possibly could. And it was a show of reflection when the school, her friends from school and the students from school were writing notes and leaving it in their locker that the school retired for her, which was amazing. But she was an angel on earth. And I know she is the spearhead in our movement up in heaven right now. And she's probably standing right next to God, right hand man, right hand girl, saving all God's children. And we are trying to push that matter with her and help her here in earth.
Yeah, she was just like a very compassionate and like soft spirit. Like she was so sweet to like everyone. She was like genuinely kind, which I think you don't see a lot of that, especially in like so many people today. And to have someone like that with that kind of spirit just like ripped away from this earth, like the impact that the influence that she could have had on people is so significant. And she still is going to have that impact. We're definitely want to save other children from anything like this, or any other family from having to go through.
She was going to change the world as living.
Yeah.
And now she's going to change it still as past.
Yeah. Listen, I can only imagine what both you and your whole family are going through right now. I mean, it's a heartbreaking thing. It's a heartbreaking situation. And of course, I feel like I've said this to you guys before, but I'm going to say it to you guys again. My condolences in my heart, literally, and prayers literally go to you and every single one of your family members and the people that are all affected by the passing of all these children in this particular situation. It's really, really devastating. Now, I do have a couple questions before we get into the main reason why you guys are here. Now, can we go back before the cops were brought back in again to go through all of that stuff in the house? Justin, how shocked were you when you went through that house that first time, seeing all that paraphernalia, all those chains, etc.? What went through your mind during that time?
Well, I'll try to sum it up quickly. We actually went through the house multiple times. The first time it was tunnel vision for me. We were looking for just certain certain items, personal items. And so I saw everything in the house the first time, but I was just looking for that stuff and I didn't see it. So I went outside. Next day we went back, and that's when I really kind of paid attention to what everybody else paid attention and saw. And I was flabbergasted, and I couldn't believe what we were seeing and what was in there, because it didn't make sense that they didn't investigate the one place where probably most of the crimes occurred.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
Okay. Now, Tiffany, what was your involvement during this time as well?
I actually flew out here a day before OSBI took over the case. So I didn't go into the house. Like you and everyone else, I saw the videos. And I think that is like enough of like, it's hard to process, like just as family members, especially to process something like that. Because I honestly don't think that we have yet fully. Like we can see it, you can see that there's chains there. And like, I think especially as family, like you don't want to think of a child and your baby girl, like you don't want to think about that kind of stuff. But the reality is that that's there, and things like that are happening in the US, and children are going through situations like this, and they need to be saved from that. We need to step in. Adults need to start taking action, speaking up for those children who don't have a voice because they're a child and they're having to endure that kind of stuff. So,
right. No, I totally understand. I'm still very shocked. Obviously, that intro, honestly, if I had an hour, it still wouldn't be enough to cover all the stuff that unearthed during this time, during this tragedy. But as the information was starting to come out, what was the thought process? Did you guys think that there was maybe more children involved in this situation, or
there's still a thought process on that. I mean, we haven't gotten very many answers as far as investigation, and there's every day, I think, more questions than answers as you continue to think about it, and nothing makes sense at all. And I think the more and more people start looking into what exactly happened, we don't know exactly what happened.
But I do think that there are other victims. This is just speculation, of course, but going through his prison records when he was in prison, the Department of Correction records, you can see that he was contacting other children, like minor girls, and talking to minor women from his contraband. He had 2 contraband phones while he was in prison.
Yeah, so let's talk about that really quick, because I know there's a lot of things that were that are not entirely true, or there's a few things that are not entirely true that were unearthed, and then there's certain things, new added information. So while he was locked up, during his time when he was locked up for 16 years, spending, he was supposed to serve a 20-something year long sentence, but he got out early on good behavior, which doesn't make any sense, or good credit, which makes no sense whatsoever. I understand that, yes, there was images of someone on a phone, which is what got him in trouble in one of those times. But now I'm understanding, at least Tiffany, you're basically saying it right now. Now I'm understanding that he had another offense before that, where he had obtained a very spicy information or very spicy images on his phone. Am I correct?
Yes, but the first offense, I honestly don't know, and I don't think that it was a minor. I think that they would have charged him officially with that if it would have been a minor. So I do think that the first offense was a contraband phone, but it was with an adult female. The second offense was definitely with a minor, with Caitlin Babb, and they did find the photos on the phone and the communication, the solicitation of a minor on there. And they even found other minors on that phone that he was communicating with.
Why weren't those charges brought up is my question. Why was only one of those brought up when he obviously did it more?
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing that doesn't make sense to me either. If he's had other offenses while he was locked up for doing that same thing, and worse, actually, why was he not being held back or held there even longer? How do you get good credit? How do you get good credit when you're doing bad things the entire time while you're locked up?
Almost the whole
How do you
time.
even get released?
So almost the whole time that he was in prison, he was earning like the max amount of credit that he could earn as an inmate. Even when the contraband phone happened, it was only about approximately a month that he lost like the ability to earn credits, and then he went right back up to earning the highest amount of credit every day.
And what
to get out early?
Some of the good credits are like making your bed, brushing your teeth.
Yeah, like things that you would
Yeah.
Very
expect.
lazy.
Yeah.
Right. Very, very easy ground ball types of things, which doesn't make it still doesn't make any sense. That's the part that's very frustrating.
Yeah, a lot of his prison time doesn't make sense. He held a lot of jobs throughout prison. His whole entire time during prison, he seemed to be working at different jobs. He got in trouble for attempting to assault a female, not an inmate, but it was a female worker that came into the prison and was working at one of the jobs that he was working. So he was no longer allowed to work in that area of the prison again.
Wait. So what happened with that female employee?
He just like assaulted her. Not like he didn't rape or didn't.
Right. He didn't SA her, but he still
assaulted
did.
her to the point that he got written up and was like, it's in his Department of Correction documents that he's not allowed to apply for a position in that role ever again. So,
but okay.
Yeah.
What? Okay. I'm sorry.
But that's not his only. That's not only sexual essays in prison. He had two against supposedly two male inmates.
Two men.
Yeah, he did, and one of them supposedly was consensual. The second one, I don't think was consensual. Like when he got put into SHU for a while. And then when he got out, he got beat up really bad. And I think it had to do with the fact that he had done that to another inmate and they were getting revenge on him. And that's why he ended up with a black eye right after being released back into General Pop. So.
Yeah, and Gen Pop. So so what? Did the prison think that this was prison justice? So he paid his dues and they just...
They still released him early. They apparently didn't think that this is a regular, repetitive nature that's within him, which clearly was revealed while he was in their custody.
Yeah, but it's not just Jesse we're noting, where it's happening to other inmates with the same charges. It's almost
They're
like
still
the state
being
of Oklahoma just doesn't care and condones their bad behavior.
Absolutely. I mean, and that's the thing that's really blowing my mind as well, is that there are so many offenders out here, offenders out here that are living in plain sight in Okmulgee and outside of Okmulgee, in other states as well, just able to live free to a certain extent because of the certain policies and the certain ways in which police are policing these individuals when they get released. And that's the piece that doesn't make sense to me at all. And, we are going to be, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Justin.
Well, if you don't mind, we've been taking our time with our research and whatnot. We have some stats that I think would be quite shocking to your audience, and part of the reason why we're pushing so hard for this.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just what you were saying, Pascal, about how many offenders there are. As of February, there was 786,000 500,000 registered offenders, offenders, SOs. So
In
in the U.S.
Okay, in the U.S.
786,000 released, could be living right next to you with your kids, right next to a school.
And there's also every single day in the U.S. there's 500,000 active predators on the internet seeking out child photo inappropriate.
So over 500,000 are active right now as we speak.
Every single day. Yeah, right now as we speak, today, there's 500,000 people going on the internet looking for child indecent photos of children.
Have mercy. Have mercy.
We can get these people permanently locked up once they're identified. It would definitely help save.
And mind you, this is just traceable internet. We're not talking dark web. I mean, that you're probably looking at
and that's
10 times more.
And the reality of it is like that's very true. And Jesse was on the dark web when he first started grooming Caitlin. He taught her how to use the dark web. A minor child, he taught her how to use the dark web. So he's clearly going on there to do that. Yeah. And if that's taking place, this 500,000 number is very small compared to the reality of what's happening in the United States right now.
That's just absolutely terrifying to even think about, guys. Think about that for a second. That's just the tip of the iceberg. We're not even talking about, you guys are not even talking about the dark web or anything of that sort. You're just saying out here just on the internet.
Where your kid has a phone and can get on there and start communicating with one of these monsters any second and be manipulated and end up in a position like this.
Yeah. Another really interesting thing that we had found was that if you take all of the people who are victims of sexual assault, 7.1% of them are adults. 92.9%. So almost 93% of all sexual assault offenses is children. 93%. So it's clearly they go after the vulnerable. Like disabled people are at much higher risk too for this, but children are clearly what they're going at. 54.2% are 13 and under that are sexually assaulted. Over 50% of
makes you sick.
Yeah.
Makes you really sick
and
angry.
Oh yeah. It gets me emotional, man. It gets me emotional. It gets me emotional big time. It's a scary thought that there's that much activity, that type of decrepit, disturbing activity going on out here in the interwebs and out here in these streets. And this is the one of the main reasons why I wanted to bring both of you on here to talk about your change.org petition, which of course, let's tap on it just a little bit, and then we're going to come back to it because I do have a couple questions about everything, of course. But I do want to bring some awareness to this really quick while we have people. Now we've grabbed them. Okay. And these are facts, guys. These are the facts that they have found. And this is true. All right. We have this Knight's Law 2.0. Protecting our children is a national priority. And I absolutely agree with this 110%. We need to get these monsters off of these streets, these repeat offenders, so on and so forth. They should not be able to be out breathing in this freedom air, y'all, with that much ease. It's ridiculous and it's mind-blowing. So please, Justin, Tiffany, can you please tell us what this petition is all about?
So I think the biggest thing on the petition is the very first law that you'll see, and it's if a person is convicted. So they've been charged, and it's been proven that they did commit a sex crime against a child. Not every single sex offender, but the one specifically who committed that crime against a child, that those people need to be serving a life sentence. I don't think that they're able to be rehabilitated. They are very likely to repeat offend. Actually, released child molesters are 4 times more likely to get rearrested for a sex crime after they're released.
That's fact. That's stats.
Yeah.
4 times more likely to reoffend. Sex offenders cannot, especially child sex offenders, cannot be rehabilitated. The stats show it, and it's time to open our eyes to that and start following some of like what Florida's doing and creating life sentences for these monsters, because that's what they are. If they have the will to destroy a child's life in the beginning of their life, where they have to then go through therapy and have PTSD and mental disorders the rest of their life.
It's a lifelong sentence.
It's a lifelong sentence for a victim.
Yeah.
It really is. And if they have to serve that lifelong sentence, so should the CM or SO.
Yes. I agree 110% that there needs to be harsher laws, harsher punishments for things like this. And then also on top of that, let's not forget, if even outside of this, let's just say parole in general. Let's say these laws aren't pushed yet and put out here yet. Even yourself, Justin, you saw with your own 2 eyes, you heard it with your own 2 ears from some of the officers talking about parole for Jesse McFadden, just for an example. And the fact that it was almost like roulette, just throwing a dart on a board, and then they go, okay, we're going to go over there and check on this offender, or we're going to check on that monster. Please go ahead.
In quotes from the same officer in the video, we were told that basically the way they do it, because they don't get enough funding and enough help from the state, that the way they do it is basically they have a map of all the CMs and SOs in Okmulgee County, and they basically throw a dart at a dartboard, and whoever it lands on is who they're checking on this month. And from my understanding, that was they only check on one child or CM, SO every month, and that's it, because they don't have the funding, they don't have the manpower, they don't have what they need. And it's become, I feel that it's become their excuse and to not do what's right. And yeah, it is a big excuse. Obviously, why we're doing this petition is there's not one federal national blanket law that covers pedophilia against sex offenders. And that's what we're out here trying to do now, is to create that one federal law that covers the whole country on pedophilia and sex trafficking. And it needs to be done. Why are we in 2023? Our main priority as parents and as family is to protect our kids so we can continue to live in America for years and decades to come. But here we are allowing monsters to take our kids.
And reoffend. That's the biggest issue, is that they're going out and they're reoffending. So many of them actually never get caught, which is an issue. So all of the numbers are going to be skewed, and they're all going to be,
and when
the statistics are going to be lower
because nobody believes them too.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is the sad part, right? And this is other than just CMs. Okay. This is more than just child SOs. This is on the whole spectrum of offenders that are out here doing these unthinkable things, not only just to children, but also adults as well. There's a lot of people out here that don't get to speak up or can't speak up and are terrified of talking because they're afraid of being either judged, ostracized, or thought as a liar, not believed. So this spans, this actually the awning spreads very wide within this situation because there's a lot of people out here that need the help and need this kind of protection. Because there are, as you said, a lot of these monsters out here in these streets living and hiding in plain sight.
They are like walking among us. Like, quite frankly, they are.
Yeah.
I highly recommend anyone watching this that they also go on to the National Sex Offender Registry and check there. You can type in your address and you can search within, a 3-mile radius around you. I live in a college town in Arizona, and there was over 280 SOs that were registered within a 3-mile radius of my house. And I live in, I don't live in a bad area. So it's scary to think that any moment I could be walking in the grocery store and accidentally saying hi and, talking to a registered SO. And that's it's
right.
horrible to think
kids
about.
Could be right around. I mean, we're all
Kids
seeing the videos on the internet of people just running up and grabbing kids and running off like nobody's caring. It's getting out of hand, and the only way to stop it is what we're doing right now. And
absolutely.
I fear, with Sound of Freedom coming out and everything, I fear that it has gone on too long and there's too much money in it and too many higher power people that we the people are going to have to finally come together and make a change and force it, because this will be a bigger fight than I think anybody's really expecting now that it's finally all starting to come out exposed thanks to Sounds of Freedom and everything else that's going on.
Well, it's a harsh reality that people know it's there, but just don't want to acknowledge that it exists.
It seems to be a very hard topic for people to talk about. When I'm bringing up this petition to people that I know, you would think that it's a pretty easy thing to support when they're convicted of molesting a child. Like, why would you ever want that type of person released back into society to potentially do that again, especially like you were saying earlier, without parole or probation? Like, how is that happening? And it's a regular, consistent thing that's going on.
And why is it being so hush hush? Mm-hmm. Like, we need to be louder than we have ever been before and push this until we are on the doorsteps of the White House insisting that this change.
I second that emotion, my brother. Now the thing is of course, one, let me just show this again, because we're gonna circle back to this, I promise. But we do need to. I had got so many questions for you guys. And thank you again for blessing us with your time to be on here. But guys, it is pinned to the top of the chat on YouTube. It is in the Facebook chat as well. The link is there. If you want to help make a change, sign now, okay? While this conversation's going. You were going to say something, Tiffany?
Yes, sign now.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And you know what? I challenge everybody to try to get at least 10 people a day to sign. This website makes goals for us, and I can come up with goals, but I'll tell you right now, the goal is everybody that's not a registered sex offender in the United States needs to sign this, and we need to take it serious and start making changes.
I agree. So one more time, we are going to come back to this. So just so you guys know, don't worry. We're going to remind you guys in a little bit again. Right now, their goal is to get to 2,500 signatures. This should be a cakewalk, y'all. Okay. So go over there, sign. That's it. Very, very simple. Sign, share this on your Twitter, your face, all that stuff. I'm already getting text messages and everything from everybody. People are also saying it in the chat as well that they're already signing and everything. So I do appreciate that. Share.
And thank you, everybody.
Absolutely.
Yes. So before we get into more of this and talk about the other pieces that you're pushing in this petition, which, by the way, I commend all y'all. I commend you both and your families for doing this, getting together and making this thing happen. And yes, I hope that in the near future, it is at the front door, right there, knocking on White House's door, making some changes as soon as possible. But we got to talk about Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh, it's going to happen. I'm not worried about that. I mean, you're making a move. What happened with this tragedy should not have happened. And if we can prevent it from that kind of thing happening again, well,
exactly.
By God, we're going to make it happen, right? But we got to
do
talk
everything we can do.
Sorry,
and that's what we're asking everyone to do: is do what you can do to fight this fight with us and stop these predators. And that's signing the petition. That's speaking up when you see something. That so many children could be saved if adults would just speak up when they see something that doesn't look right.
If you see something, say something, right? I couldn't agree more. Now, the thing I want to talk to you guys about, of course, we got to go back to the tragedy a little bit, and I apologize to you both. I
don't apologize. As I said, the story needs to be told. That's how we get our attention, and it needs to be told. It sucks to tell it, but that's what we're here for.
Right. Well, I appreciate you willing to be so candid and open with all of us, to my family that are watching right now and everything. So I do appreciate it. And please get those likes up and share this feed. All right. So there's a couple things within this case that I'm still kind of scratching my head about, and I still don't have full answers on. And I feel that it has some correlation to this petition. One, we just talked about police and their lack of due diligence, their lack of putting in the work, the investigative work that they're supposed to be putting into when it comes to these types of crimes. But there was some information that I was curious about as far as the crime scene itself. Was there anything found was there any information or clues that were found that would give us a different narrative than the narrative that they've given us so far? Like how they were found, etc.?
So, like where the bodies were found, there's not really blood, right? Which if
there's no blood found anywhere,
and it's not, it's not in the house, but specifically, it's not where the bodies were located, which seems very odd that the police could identify that these bodies were moved. They even said it in their press release that the bodies were moved. This wasn't where they were found, but we don't know. The officers don't know where the crime actually took place. So I just personally find it interesting that if you know it clearly wasn't where the bodies were found, and you know that it was somewhere else, why you would end the investigation within a day of and not going through, not going into the house. It was the shortest investigation I've ever
on 162 acres, mind you.
And they to know as a law enforcement that the crime didn't happen where the bodies were found. You can go into the house, you can see that there was definitely crimes that occurred inside that house. There's no question of it. And to know that Jesse McFadden was killed himself on the day he was supposed to go on trial for child porn charges. He knew he was going back to prison.
Well, he left all his...
They left his computer behind. I mean, I'm saying
his court documents. It appeared he left probably a pile of court documents in a manila folder about this big on the living room floor on him.
There was
on a mattress. And it was almost like, this is why I did it.
Yeah.
Wow. Was there any, aside from the text messages that he sent out to the woman that he was supposed to go to trial for, or he was supposed to show up that day to show up in court for this other offense that he did? He sent out text messages to the actual woman, to the victim. Was there any note, anything that was left behind aside from that stack, that manila envelope or manila folder of stuff? Was there like a note, a letter? Goodbye world, anything?
He didn't leave his own letter. He left a lot of letters that were written to Caitlin Babb, the victim, in the second case. So he left those in the folder with his other documents, but he didn't leave like a.
But he also created that social media page. I think it was TikTok, and named it Holy Days. After he committed the murders, just to reach out to the other victim and blame her.
I also find it interesting that he reached out to his mom and told her that he was going to be like, he wasn't going back to prison, he was going to kill himself, and she didn't do anything. Like, she didn't notify the police, and he had already, she drove there when he first committed his rape of a minor that landed him in prison. He went, after he committed the crime, he went down and he slit his wrist pretty bad. They had to take him to the hospital, and so he attempted to kill himself after that. So as his mom, who was she was well aware of his actions, because she was continually reaching out to that minor victim in the second case, trying to get her to drop the case and to not show up, not have her guardians show up, so that way the case would get dropped and she could have her son back. So she was well aware of that, of his tendencies. For her to hear that he was going to kill himself, she could have definitely thought, like, hey, he might have just done something or is about to do something really bad. I need to notify someone. And instead, she didn't bother to do that. She was just looking out for her son and not saying anything.
But, it goes back to her being at fault too for this whole thing, because she knew Jesse was with Holly and all the other kids when he wasn't supposed to, and she could have reported it and saved all those kids, and she refused to, because she wanted to condone her monster of a son's behavior, I guess.
Has there been any conversation with the mother as of late, over the past 5 months?
She's been silent. She has been completely silent since it happened.
She knows what she's done wrong, and I hope she lives with that and that eats her alive the rest of her life.
Has she signed the petition?
No.
She probably won't.
She hasn't.
Interesting. Interesting. So I got a couple more questions, because I know that there's certain things that were said in other interviews that were broadcast all over the world that were not true. So I got a couple questions for you guys, because I understand that there was some things that were, I guess, exaggerated, for lack of a better term, like the floorboards, finding things underneath the floorboards, like bloody children's clothes that were still wet with blood. I understand that is not entirely true. Am I correct?
That is, from our understanding, not true. Yes.
Okay. Now,
so Holly did have, she was pregnant, and she ended up miscarrying. So they did have toddler clothes in the house. Tiffany was very excited about, one of her daughters was very excited about the kids, so they were getting toddler clothes. So those were there, but
there was no blood on any of the clothes. I don't even know where you could lift the floorboard in that house.
Yeah, it had a solid foundation.
Like I said, I was looking all over the place, and I even ended up finding myself in the attic at one point. So that tells you how much I was kind of looking, and I don't see any floorboards that could have came up. But yes, there was one item that had blood on it, and that was a baby wipe, and that was the only thing that had any kind of blood on it.
And the cops left that behind too.
Yeah, they left that behind.
They didn't bother to take that, or the chains, or the handcuffs, or
anything.
Really. They left all the drugs behind. How do you release a house back to the community full of drugs? Like, I just don't. That's an obvious hazard.
And weapons still in the house, and
right.
Yeah.
I mean, it was obvious that they were lazy. I mean, it's just mind blowing. So as far as the floorboards piece is not true. So I do have some other things. Like there were other items. Like I said, there were items that were said. I mean, I even did a show about it because I was so passionately focused on this story because obviously I want less of this to happen, right? But there was information that was being said about things that were found. So they said, okay, there's one last, okay, I'm going to get to that last piece in a second, but they said there was a 4-inch stack of Polaroids and photos of children, VHS tapes of kids, a ledger with names and birthdays of kids, lumber. Of course, we did see the lumber with padlocks on it. The 5
let's
cell
start
phones.
with one thing.
One thing
ahead.
at a time.
Yeah, one thing at a time.
I'm
So
sorry.
your first
I'm
one,
sorry.
the stack of Polaroids.
Polaroids,
So,
yes.
We were told from OSBI, and just so that way you understand where our sources are from. OSBI, the bloody clothes was untrue. They had to do a second interview and possibly third interview on the specific person that was saying that. And then that's when they released the statement about false statements and all that because of this specific person stating false statements several times. But the stack of photos, so my daughter has a Instapic Polaroid camera, and her and Tiffany would play with that thing all the time. So my guess is that it was probably some of their old photos that they took just hanging out, and they probably just had it stacked up on a dresser somewhere. And I asked OSBI if they were lewd or indecent in any way. He said, no, not at all. They were just friendly, good pictures.
Okay, so the 4-inch stack of Polaroids is would not have anything to do, any connection with this case. It's just kids being kids and taking a lot of photos and having fun. So then the VHS tapes of children. Is that true or not?
Can't comment on that. Never heard that. That's the first time I've heard it.
I haven't heard that one actually.
Wow.
So,
thank you for that.
But there were plenty of electronics left behind. They took one computer, according to their search warrant. They took one computer.
That's
and it was
Okmulgee though. OSBI.
Yeah. OSBI came in on the first investigation by the local law enforcement. They just took one of the computers in Michael's room and the kids' room, and they left the sex offender's computer out.
I was told from OSBI, from one of them that has been in the force for over 20 years, that they pulled more evidence out of this house than he has in the 20 plus years that he's worked. So
that's the second investigation.
Yeah, that's the second investigation done by OSBI. So that tells you how miserable and incompetent that Okmulgee County was with their investigation.
Wow. But that's when they actually did their damn job.
Yeah,
basically.
That's when OSBI came in and was out there for 3 days and almost 3 nights investigating the whole
searching the whole property. Yeah.
That's insane. Okay. So ledger of names and birthdays of children.
There was a ledger.
I wouldn't even call it a ledger.
There's a notebook.
And just the front page, as soon as you open it, I didn't even really take a gander at any of the other pages because that other person that was with us, she was trying to tell us not to turn it in, not give it to PD, and that's when
because they were incompetent.
Yeah,
that was the first investigation when that was going on, and then Justin didn't do that.
Well, so yeah, I just went straight up to the sheriff's office and I said, I really don't know what this is, but it has a bunch of names and date of births in it, and one of the names on there was a prior victim that we know for sure. But also on that list was his mom was on there with her date of birth, like birthday. Right. Holly's name was on there with her date of birth. So yeah, I think it might have been just a birthday list, maybe. I don't know. It's hard to say, but it looked like an old notebook, probably from his times in jail or prison.
I see. I see. Maybe he was just, yeah, that could be it. Taking notes and just remembering things.
It certainly could have victims, other victims, because it did have the one victim. So I wouldn't be surprised if it did have other ones. It did have multiple names on there and the dates of birth next to them. So.
Okay. And then, of course, there was this multiple cell phones that were found. Of course, one with a Panda wallet. And of course, people are speculating that that was a child's phone.
I can't really comment on whose phone was whose. I can just tell you that, like I said, they pulled more electronic evidence out of that house than a experienced detective has pulled out of any other house before.
And I want to say, I think in total, it was 9 or 10 cell phones that were found. And when you add that up with the 7 victims, and Riley didn't have a cell phone, is my understanding. So if she didn't have a cell phone,
they locked that poor girl
then up. That means that there's four extra phones that they located, physical phones that they located, 3 or 4 extra phones that clearly didn't necessarily belong to those people who were found.
Gotcha.
So, but Ivy's phone was one of them. Thank goodness that we were able to get back. So
what are the chances of the house actually being a place for unthinkable content, like a content home for the dark web?
I think we all kind of speculate that for sure, especially with the amount of evidence that came out and with all the things that was in that house, and the fact that we've learned that Holly and Jesse both had what do you call those, like relationship accounts, like Bumble, all Tinder. That, and Tinder. they were soliciting for
another party to come in.
Yeah, other parties to come in and perform sex with them both together.
Wow. That's news to me. I didn't know that part. And that's crazy. So some of the things are true. Some of it is not. I know that there was a lot of news that was flying around during that time with a lot of speculation and a lot of theories and a lot of finger pointing as well. So you guys are here, and I appreciate you guys being here talking about this and bringing awareness to this petition. But where are the other families? Are they involved in this or not?
I think, everybody kind of grieves in different ways. And for us, we're, I guess, in a better position to want to get in attack mode. And we are attacking as hard as we can. And I can say that a lot of people have joined our fight along with the other victims' families, and we all got a part in this, and we're all pushing hard to make a difference. Gotcha. Now,
I totally understand that, and of course, I'm sure, given the fact that you guys are spearheading this, maybe other family members are staying in the background but still rooting you on, and maybe not.
I just think in a part of our grief, we're ready to make a difference. And I don't, grief works in different ways for different people. And
true.
And I honestly, part of our grief and how busy we've been, it's hard to communicate with everybody. So, we touch base every once in a while, and I know they got their own things going on, and we're kind of doing our own things, but we do coordinate with each other, and we're moving forward together.
Good. And I'm glad to hear that, for real. There's one last question I had for you on that side of things. And of course, there's a few things I want to talk about with the children here too. But obviously there has been somebody who's been saying things out here in these interviews that have been stretching the truth, let's just say. One of them was about Jesse hiring an actor to fool Holly. Is this true? Or is that actually another fabrication from somebody else?
No, I'll let you.
I would say I'm very interested to find out what this actress's name is, see any sort of screenshot showing that she actually did call and have some sort of communication with the family, because there's been absolutely no proof. We've directly asked that family member to show us this information, like just prove it. You know, it's not that hard of a thing to prove. If you took a phone call, whether it was on Facebook Messenger or it was on your cell phone, you can screenshot that and, you know, redact, take out whatever information you want to take out, but it's an easily provable thing. So I would challenge that individual to come forward and prove it, but I personally don't think that that is a possible thing that could take place.
So I guess, why would someone go out and just fabricate pieces of information? That's the piece that I still don't understand, because I know that this is a family member of one of the victims, so I'm still trying to understand that. Say it again.
There's more people at fault for this situation, and they just can't take ownership of it, and they don't want to.
So one of the families knew about it. Holly's family knew about it. They have openly said this on the news.
They knew about Jesse prior to.
Yes, they knew about the fact that Jesse was a registered sex offender and that he was in jail. And they've known about it for months and months and months before this happened. And that family member also interacted with our family and knew that Tiffany was best friends with Ivy, and didn't bother to say anything to us about
condoned
it.
his behavior and did nothing to save the kids.
So I think a lot of it is just they're trying to control, you know, like people's opinions and views of the way that they acted. But honestly, I reached out to them and said, I can forgive you. I would be so, like, I have the forgiveness in my heart to forgive you, because we all make mistakes, right? Like, that's a major mistake that took my cousin's life, but it's a mistake. So I would very much like respect you if you're able to come forward and just speak the truth. But when you continue to lie and cover up and just conceal, it becomes an issue, and it's a lot harder.
Let's make it to where no other family has to conceal or hide and jeopardize anybody else's life. Let's
Don't give them the opportunity to do that.
Pass this law so nobody has to worry about them ever again.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree 110%. Now, let's talk about the children really quick, because there's a lot of kids that lost their lives in this horrifying, unthinkable act of, I mean, this is a horrendous situation for any family member to go through. But there was a large group of kids that lost their lives. All of them had not even been able to see their full potential of their lives, right, unfold in front of them. Did you meet any of the children? Did you know anything about the kids before this tragedy?
I guess I'll comment on that.
Sure.
We loved every single one of those kids. The weekend before, you know, Tiffany was always at our house almost every weekend. It was either vice versa, but most of the time we had Tiffany over here, and we looked at her as one of our own kids, to be honest. And that's what a lot of people aren't realizing, is we didn't just lose our daughter, we lost other extended family members of ours. And we were just telling Tiffany the weekend before at Ivy's birthday party that we were going to give her a key to the house. And Michael was my son Parker's best friend. And Riley was Parker's ex-girlfriend. And yeah, all those kids were always at our house all the time, hanging out. And they did everything together. And I miss every single one of them. A lot.
I believe that. I definitely believe that. And you know, my condolences to you guys, because I know this is deeper. And we see that, or at least I see that. And I'm sure the family who's watching right now, the Pascal Show family that's watching right now, knows this is a lot deeper because of this petition that you guys are pushing for. You know, I there's still so much within this story, that this case, that I'm still scratching my head. I know, still scratching my head. I know that you guys have said a lot here, but I'm still wondering what the heck is going on here. What's going on with 5-0, with police? What's going on here? And I know you can't say much, but I'm going to ask it anyway, because it's still it's itching me. What is the cooperation? What are the levels of cooperation that the police department is actually doing right now within this case? Are they involved? Are they completely hands off right now?
Well, Okmulgee County, we already, I'm not afraid to say what I need to for them, because the whole world got to see how miserable of a job they did. So I guess that kind of speaks for itself. As far as OSBI, I feel confident, especially in the beginning, that with the investigation that they did, they hopefully did it properly and extensive. And however, though, the past few, well, let's say probably the past month and a half, 2 months, it's been very, very quiet. We haven't heard anything, no new updates. The last thing I think I got was basically, we'll talk to you at the end of all this. And we're being told it's probably going to be a very long investigation, anywhere as long as 2 years to a year.
Yeah, I know you guys have a long journey ahead of you guys as far as getting justice. And I hope you guys, well, I'm not going to say I hope. I know you guys are going to get it. It's just going to take a little bit of time, which is very, very frustrating, I'm sure. But I do have a couple comments that I want to bring up, because, you know, there are people here showing up, showing support and all that. So a lot of people have signed. A lot of people have already been doing that, as we've been seeing so far. But you guys need to do more. Okay, fam? I love y'all, but do more. Okay? Sign, share, and sign. Okay? Or actually sign, then share. Let that chronological order. Okay, guys?
Do not stop. Every day. Keep going.
Exactly. Mark Allen on YouTube just said, Justin's being humble. To his credit, he's been ready to fight this fight since day one. His family is among the strongest people I know. Mark, thank you so much for saying that. That really does mean a lot. Okay. It really does mean
Mark.
Yes, thank you.
So much. And Fat Baby Toodles said, that's an awesome petition. Just read it and signed, just like every single last one y'all right now should be doing, reading it and signing it. Totally agree that those POS need to be away for life. I thank you so much for that comment as well. There's been a lot of people that are saying they signed, a lot of people that are putting out, even say Raven is saying, let's not forget this case. Absolutely. This is the reason why we are, of course, Justin, of course. But this is the reason why we're bringing up this story. This is the reason why we're talking about this story. Yes, this happened 5 months ago, but still, this happened. This is still happening every day somewhere in America right now, somewhere around the world. It's happening right now. So,
you know, sorry.
Go ahead.
In light of all this, you know, you, as a grieving parent, you try to find avenues to socialize with people that have been through what we have been through. You know, people tell you, oh, go to counseling, you need to talk to somebody. But sometimes you feel like counseling won't benefit you because they don't know exactly what you're feeling and what you're going through. So you try to reach out to people that have. And in doing that, I found all kinds of Facebook groups about grieving parents and grieving the loss of a child. And it's absolutely stunning and shocking to see. It's almost every day that I see our same story the same
Someone
thing
else.
that happened to us happened to somebody else on a daily basis.
Yeah.
This is
And
happening.
hearing those words from parents and knowing how they feel is heart-wrenching. And if people are as pissed off as we are, we've got to take the opportunity now to fix it and change it.
We just need to save the children. Like, that's what it comes down to, is every single one of those children deserved a future, and they deserved the whole entire life that they had ahead of them. And to have that ripped away so unjustly is like, there's just not really words for it. And to know, like Justin said, like, so many families across America, this is happening to people in all states across the US. It's not like it's specific to Oklahoma. You don't need to worry about it. No, these predators are everywhere in the United States. Almost 800,000 of them that have been convicted and now have to register. But that number pales in comparison to the truth of how many are out there getting away with this.
I just don't understand also, in time, why did we backtrack on the laws? Back in the day, you do that, it's a life sentence. You're done. It's over.
And now there's leniency.
And now there's leniency, and people that have probably more rights than we do are being protected. And it's baffling to me and confusing to me that we're in 2023 and there is not a federal blanket law to cover pedophilia and SOs in our country to help protect the innocent people and the innocent kids of this country. Why are we in 2023 doing this now when this should have been done centuries ago?
It shouldn't have. Leniency should have never came into the picture when it comes to an offense against a child.
Absolutely.
Against a child, like, it just shouldn't. Those people don't deserve to walk around free, and they don't have it on their. I honestly don't think they have it on their conscience once they're released from. They've done their jail time and they get released back into society. Like, they just go on living their life again. They're just normal to them, like doing their normal routine. That child, like we said earlier, like they have trauma. They probably have PTSD. They're dealing with those issues for the rest of their life until they die. Like, and it's wrong. It's wrong that person. Another issue in this particular case was that they released Jesse McFadden. They didn't tell his first victim, Crystal Strong. They didn't notify her that he was being released. And how is that happening? Can you imagine being a victim of a crime, like a brutal crime like that, and then walking around and then just seeing your offender like on the street or at the grocery store? Like,
right.
That's a scary thought, and it's a reality that people are facing today. And so that's one of the laws in the petition too, is that the state needs to be held accountable when they're not properly warning citizens and prior victims.
They're creating dangerous situations for people.
Yeah.
And not protecting the innocent.
Yeah.
It's a terrifying thought that all of this is still, that this even happens, that there are monsters out here like this doing these kinds of things. One of the things that's really terrifying to think too, and I hate to put this in people's heads, but I'm going to put a little bee in your bonnet. Some of these monsters are going out and doing these hideous, unthinkable acts to these children. And those children grow up and they repeat that same cycle.
Yep.
That's the terrifying part of it all as well. Because of their trauma, because of what they think is normal in their minds. It's terrifying. By keeping these people locked up, by stopping this type of monstrosity from happening all the time, a lot of these people hiding in plain sight is stopping the cycle as well from happening as well.
That would be a generational change that could happen.
Yeah.
And it saves so many lives. Like you said, because they were a victim, a lot of the sexual predators that are out there, a lot of them were child victims of this. And then to gain control back, they went and they did it to somebody else, trying to get back what was taken from them. And they'll never get back what was taken from them. So it's just a horrible cycle, like you said. So
it needs to end.
It does need to end. We need to stop it now.
It most definitely is. And this is exactly that was exactly what I was going to say, Justin. Took the words right out of my mouth, but this is how we do it, y'all. No, it's all good, but this is how we do it, y'all. All right, Montel Jordan, this is how we do it. Going over here, signing this petition, okay? So go to change.org site to the link that is pinned to the top of the chat that's in the Facebook chat right now as we speak, going over there and signing. Going and taking this link after you sign, share it on all your platforms, share that link, inspire other people to do what's right in stopping these monsters from being able to be let out to go and hunt and do these unthinkable things again. These individuals need to be stopped, and let's prevent something like a tragedy that happened, like the Jesse McFadden, the unthinkable thing that happened in that house of horrors. The only way that we can stop it is by signing this petition and bringing awareness about this. So let's keep pushing. Again, Justin and Tiffany, I appreciate your bravery. I appreciate the not giving up. Because I know a lot of people will get defeated, and will slow their giddy up down. Okay, they'll slow the momentum because they feel like they're not going anywhere. And there's something about this that I feel that there are other family members, other victims, other survivors that need to know about this petition, that need to share it on their platforms as well, and getting the word out as much as possible. So guys, if you guys are out here, just thought about this really quick, and I'm going to let you say what you need to say, Tiffany. But I was just thinking this really quick. Any of you guys that run any type of chat forums, any Facebook pages, any YouTube channels, any Twitter accounts that are specifically about stopping and preventing SOs from being out here, please share this to those people that you know that run those kinds of chat rooms and all that, okay? Or those group pages or those whatever, those Facebook pages. Please share this link to them, because the more they get that information out here, the more we get closer to their goal, or we supersede their goal here, okay? I do have a super chat that I do want to share here. It just popped up. 1 second. Kimberly in Japan, thank you so much. I appreciate the super chat. As a parent, I can't express how much I respect your bravery and strength. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us. I have signed. And that's someone all the way in Japan right now, guys. So the more we get this information out here, Kimberly, thank you. I salute you, and I salute every single last one of y'all who have already taken the time to go and sign the petition. It takes 5 seconds, guys. Or however long it takes you to type on a keyboard. If you're a slow typer like me, it'll take you about 5 minutes. But still, it'll be signed nonetheless. And then all you got to do is copy, paste, and share it out here. Okay, guys? Do the right thing. Tiffany, you wanted to say something. I apologize.
I don't quite recall what that was, but definitely go on there and sign it. It is so fast to sign. I'm telling you, my grandma told me she wanted to sign the petition. So I just called her on the cell phone. I said, okay, you go to this change.org, type in Knight's Law 2.0, she types it in. It's easy because Pascal put it on the chat, so you can just click the link. So that takes away all of the time of locating the petition. All you do is you put your name. It auto-populates your location. Please, if you can, put this, if it doesn't auto-pop your populate your where you're located, please put the state in, because I'm regularly going and updating people on how many people have signed in each state across the US, so that way we can kind of gain awareness of where this is picking up.
But also, you know, we're working on a lot of other different things. We've created certain different Facebook pages. One being Beware Oklahoma Predators. We're trying to help identify and allow our communities here to know who their predators are based off the public information off the sex offender websites. We've also created a Facebook about the Knight's Law and to help bring awareness. I always tell people they can add me on Facebook if they want. You know, I'm always sharing stuff on my Facebook about the awareness and kind of some updates that we do get, and you know, pictures and stuff. Also,
Mainly it's sharing the story. Like,
yeah, and you know, Ashley, my wife, she's been creating these shirts to help bring awareness to. So we're doing everything we can to just put it out there that, hey, this is what we're doing. This is our life mission, and this is what we have to do to end the suffering really in the United States for these kids. We've got to put it into it, and we got to protect every kid. And I'll tell you right now, I keep telling everybody that I meet that has kids, and you know, I've met a lot of people through this, and I tell them, if you ever needed a safe place to go, you can come knock on my door and I will protect you. And that's what I want to do the rest of my life.
Yeah, you said something earlier, Pascal, essentially about, you know, us not forgetting or not continuing to follow through on what Justin said.
But
about
we were even setting up booths and everything.
But the reality of it is, like, we can't. This affected our family, like, to the core. So we can't, knowing what this feels like, you can't do that. You can't just sit back and let other families go through it. It's just not okay. You need to take action. Like, there's no other option that we have other than to try to make a change and stop this from ever going, like anyone else being affected in this kind of way.
Whatever it takes. If that takes waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning and doing a booth for 15 hours a day, we're going to be out there doing it, which we are doing this weekend. If that takes making shirts and wearing a shirt every day so people get attracted by reading what's on the shirt, you know, we're doing everything we possibly can, whatever it takes. And we, you know, hearing some of these comments and people saying all those great things about us, don't just say those great things. Take it.
You be that person.
I want to be a leader in this and take what we're doing. And this isn't our petition. This is everybody's petition. Take that petition, print it out, put it in businesses, start your own booths, do whatever you need to do if you believe in this, and get as many signatures as you can. I tell people every day, I challenge you, get 10 people to sign it a day. That right there will help us out tremendously.
Mm-hmm. I agree. The more you talk about it, the more the word is out here, the more signatures come and the more change comes. So I could not agree with you guys more. Real quick.
Stand united against pedophilia together.
Yes. So Glitter Diva, thank you so much. She says, I'll be signing the petition momentarily. Thank you. Thanks so much to everyone who is part of this movement. I'm a survivor and would love to share my story. The legal BS around my own case is mind-numbing. Yeah, I feel like a lot of people, a lot of survivors have that same story, that same breakdown about all the same old BS that they're just trying to get justice, but there's a bunch of walls that keep forming right in front of them. Barriers get in front of them, and it's hard to knock those walls down if you don't have the right kind of funds, maybe the right kind of representation and all that. It's very frustrating. But if there were laws, kind of like what they're doing with the Knight's Law 2.0, if there were laws already erected for this particular situation, then there wouldn't be walls protecting these monsters from actually getting justice swiftly. right? So again, everyone go over to change.org or to the link that I pinned to the top. It's in the chat. Please go over there, click on it, sign it, and share it. All right? Please do so. That would really mean the world to me. And of course, it will obviously mean the world to the Webster family as well. Again, Justin, Tiffany, Godspeed to you both. God bless you guys. And I hope that you guys, well, I'm not worried. You guys will meet your goal. You guys will get your voice and what you're doing heard. I'm just hoping that this platform and this conversation just helps nudge it forward a little bit further than it was, I don't know, an hour and 30 minutes ago, right?
Well, hopefully we'll be doing this again here soon, talking about how the movement's going and taking off. And I have so much gratitude, and I'm very thankful for you and what you're doing. And I want to continue to do this because we need every platform we can get. And you're in this, you're a knight in shining armor with us, helping us out. And I need every general I can get. So thank you.
No problem. And you know, I'm honored to be able to be one of the many, I'm sure, one of the many platforms to talk about this and bring awareness to this. Because I remember that interview that you had on that couch, actually, with Brian Enton. I remember that like it was yesterday, when you said that I'm not going to stop just because this is beyond, right? It's beyond. Of course, it's justice for your daughter, but it's also beyond that. It's saving all these other children that are out here as well. When I saw that this petition was made and all that, I was like, okay, this is a man of his word. This is a family of their word. And I literally commend you guys for your hard work, and we're here to help as much as possible. Okay,
let's do it, and we won't stop until we do it.
Right on. But again, thank you guys so much for being on. I really do appreciate it, and we'll be in touch here soon. Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Much love to you guys.
You too.
All right. Bye. So, guys, again, this is important. This conversation is extremely, extremely important. There are a lot of kids out here in these streets that need our help, that need this protection, period. But what's frustrating is that there are very, very light laws, light punishments for unthinkable acts out here to our own children. So again, I urge you guys to please go over to, please go over to the change.org petition. If you're feeling anything about this, if this moved you in some sort of way, if it spoke to you, if you're a survivor, or if you're currently a victim right now, you are surviving right now in a situation, please share this change.org website, this link. Put it out there. Sign it for yourself. Please. And I will say this, if you are surviving right now, please make a phone call. Please find refuge, find safety, because there's a lot of us that are living through it right now as we speak. And I'm telling you right now, I'm here. And there's a lot of other people just like the Webster family. They're saying you will not need to fear on wondering if you're fighting alone, because they're standing right next to you, fighting along with you. They may not be there physically with you, but they are doing everything they can to make sure every single last one of you survivors, those that are surviving, get the proper help that you guys need. Please go over to change.org. Please go to that website, to this link, and sign right now. All right? That would really, really That would really, really mean a lot. Not only just to me, but to everybody else out here. All of our children need this. Real quick, I got another one. Misty, thank you so much for the 10. Pascal, thank you for bringing these cases to light. My heart and prayers go to every single person who's dealing with SO crimes. God bless everyone in this world. Misty, I really do appreciate that. And yes, I second that emotion as well. Like I said, the more we talk about it, the more we bring awareness to it, the more we can get tighter laws that get us swifter justice and keep those particular bad guys at bay and locked up for good. If we have harsher laws, harsher punishments for these particular laws, maybe some of these monsters who are going to be first-time offenders, maybe it inspires them to think twice before they do anything. Again, let's protect our children. Go to change.org, to the actual website, to the link that's pinned to the top of the chat. Sign it, share it. That's all I'm asking. Very, very simple. Takes 2 seconds. I'd love to see it go past 2,000 signatures before the end of the day, because it's still early, y'all. It ain't even noon. It ain't even lunchtime. Okay? Takes 2 seconds to go in there and pop it off. Sign and share. Okay? Anyway, guys, I appreciate y'all for being here. It really does mean a lot. It really, really does mean a lot. The other thing I wanted to say, so I know some of y'all might be like, oh, it's an old story. This is 5 months ago. You realize that you have family, you have people, victims' families that are still dealing with this every single day, and they will be dealing with this like it was yesterday for the rest of their lives. Doesn't matter how old the story is. There is some serious need for justice out here in these streets and serious protection for our children. So please go over to the link, sign it, and share it. Anyway, guys, thank you guys so much for being here again. I appreciate y'all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I got more stories for you guys, so we will be talking in a little bit, okay? So please be sure to make sure that notification bell is on if you're watching on YouTube, all right? Set it to all, because I go random with my uploads and my lives, all right? But a little bit more things. Hit that like button down below. It helps get this story out here. Please share as well this feed. More importantly, share the link that I just pinned to the top of the chat. Please and thank you. Of course, if you're watching on Facebook, hit that reaction button down below. That would be greatly appreciated as well. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Hit that notification bell to all. Also, if you're watching on Facebook, don't forget to hit that follow button over there as well. We talk about a lot of stuff and a lot of very important conversations and stories on this channel. So if you appreciate what I'm doing, please hit that follow button. Please hit that subscribe button. That'd be greatly, greatly appreciated. Anyway, guys, it's time to get going, and we need justice for all of our kids. We do, for all of our kids who have survived. And those are the ones that we have lost as well. They need as much justice as anybody else. Real talk. Glitter, thank you so much for the 5. Short version of my story. Dude served 1 month, released on good behavior. Also, while he served it, he had work released daily to his job as a... What? That's insane. See, stuff like this right here really, really boils my blood, all right? Because that's not right. That's not justice. So he was still able to go out here and be a doctor? That doesn't make any sense. Wow, y'all. That's ridiculous. You're going to have to email me your story, Glitter, because I'd love to know more about that as well, okay? The more we talk about these stories, the more we can bring more awareness and prevention from these things ever happening again. Wow. Okay. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that follow button on Facebook if you're watching on Facebook. I appreciate every single last one, y'all. We got some more pop-up videos coming up to you guys very, very soon, so be on the lookout for that. But it's time for me to get going, okay? Got many things to do and many miles to go before I go to sleep. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. Let's get justice for this family and those kids. Let's get it. This is the Pascal Show. Bye.